we're on to Fueled Your Fire. What's Fueled Your Fire this week?
You tell me yours first, because mine is knicker-wettingly exciting.
Is it?
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'll clench in readiness.
Yes, good. You go first.
Pelvic floor at the ready. Welcome to Own It, Your Business in Your Life, with Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. In this podcast, we're going to cover everything you need to embrace to become a successful entrepreneur, marketing, money, and much, much more. How to create a business doing just what you love. How to own it, your business and your life. This one will be fast, funny, feisty, and very lively. So sit back and enjoy the show. Stenning, come in London.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Well, Stenning, lovely, of course, staying with Kim, but why aren't you in Paris?
Well, it all got a bit complicated, Judith.
Okay.
Heather wasn't getting to Paris till Sunday night, so
Yeah.
she couldn't tell me till Sunday night if I'd have anywhere to stay.
Yeah.
James Schramko was coming to London for a meet-up on Tuesday, so I was contemplating going to London for that. And then Andy, my mate Andy, wanted me to come for dinner on Monday or Tuesday night because Paul Fugel was coming down to stay. And I haven't seen anyone for ages, obviously a year about. So it would be, I thought it'd be nice to do that as well. So I was overwhelmed with choice and having to make decisions and not having all the information I needed, i.e. was there space for me in Paris? And then I thought, throwing into the mix, would I go back to Greece on Thursday or Saturday? The prices were starting to go up because it was getting nearer the time. And I thought Saturday would have been good because I would have gone straight into my new house. Thursday wouldn't have been so good because I would have had to find somewhere else to stay for 2 nights. The Souvlaki Bar flat wasn't available, but there was something else. Then I thought, no, this is ridiculous. I've got to go back on Saturday. Then I thought I have to be in Paris for the whole week. I have to go on Monday, come back on Friday. It was all I got a bit overwhelmed with all the logistics of it all. So then I thought, what's the easiest option? So I talked to Irving. He said I could stay for Monday night and Tuesday night because he was doing something else, and Nelson was coming back on Wednesday from Lanzarote. He wasn't impressed with Lanzarote, by the way. And so then I thought, okay, well, I can go stay with me old Mucker Kim for 2 nights, and I'm coming to you today from possibly the poshest desk I've ever used. It's a beautiful black lacquered wooden desk with mother of pearl inlays. Oh, it's so pretty.
Nice.
So
very nice.
Yeah.
There's something else I know, one of the great mysteries of life that I never got the answer to because I forgot to ask, which was on your return trip from Brisbane, were you allowed to have your laptop with you in the cabin all the way, or did you have to put it in a hold at Dubai?
You're going to like this reply, Judith, quite a lot.
Good.
I diligently put my laptop in my hold luggage, and just as I was checking it in, she said, do you have anything in there that's got lithium batteries in? And I said, well, I'm not sure, but I've got my laptop in there because I've heard you can't take it, you can't take it in your hand luggage. And she said, oh, no. She said, this is Qantas. Well, it was Emirates Qantas. She said, Qantas don't like lithium batteries in the hold, so we prefer you to take your laptop in the cabin baggage.
Okay. Even
though you're coming through Dubai.
Okay.
She said, if you were going in on British Airways from Dubai, you would have to put it in your hold luggage. Because it's the British Airlines that don't allow you anyway. It's very complicated. So it came with me in the cabin, but I didn't use it at all because obviously I had my phone, and they're pretty much good for most things now.
Oh, well, you see, that's what the laptop ban says. You can take your phone, but nothing else.
Yeah, well, it depends which airline you're coming through on.
And also, you said originally that the phone was too small.
Well, it is to do any meaningful work on. For example, you wouldn't be able to write your new book on it, but so that's why you need something that...
Well, it must be remembered I don't even have a smartphone at all.
Yeah, and also I am a little bit portly to be propping a laptop up between me and the seat in front, so I've given up on that a long time ago.
In scum class, you definitely are. That's absolutely right.
And that's where I most definitely was, Judy.
Yes. No, never will I get to Australia in scum.
Yes. So,
but you're not in scum today. You're in mother of pearl inlay.
I'm in mother of pearl inlay splendour in a beautiful little cottage. I mean, it really is stunning, her cottage, and it's in the middle of the historic high street of Stenning, which is a very, very pretty little village in the heart of Sussex. And we went out for a fabulous meal last night, and I'm looking forward to another evening with Kim tonight.
And is Kim in now?
No, she's in. She's doing her home hairdressing down in the salon downstairs.
Well, say hi from Kim. I'm very fond of Kim.
I will. I know you met several times.
Yeah.
What about your week then?
I'll just let this loud lorry go by.
Okay.
And then I'll tell you that I opened up more online diary spaces this week, as I've been threatening to do for a couple of weeks. I've doubled my availability because half of it was being soaked up by potential newbies, if you remember.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I was feeling very excited and upbeat about all of the new clients, and I've met a couple of them this week, and they were both fabulous. I'm reflecting very much on the nature of my work, which is, and it happened actually when I did my first session with you a very long time ago. I don't know when we first spoke. It was something like
2003.
It was 2003. The very first session a coach does with a client frequently makes both parties go, wow. And then, of course, once you start working together, there's somewhat more slog, isn't it? Because slog in a business or anything or any learning is where the progress is made. And I'll come back to this later as well in my next section. But I'm very thoughtful around that first session, which can be life-changing for the client and very excited for me because I always fall in love with new people so easily, versus the dig in and get on with because I can't give them that wow experience every time, because that comes on from the magic of two people meeting, me seeing their thing, thinking their thing is great, dreaming up ideas they haven't thought of to make it better, them being empowered by me loving their idea. And then, of course, we've got to do the work. So I'm just reflecting on that. The clients that are still with me and who dig in know that there is work to be done. And I can't deliver that inspiration every time, but I wish I could, Nicola. I just love those first sessions. I love all the sessions, but those first ones are just peerless, really. They're fab.
Yeah, the thing I have noticed over the years is that the first one is also magic because you're looking at them through completely different eyes to how anyone else has ever looked at them, and you're able to deliver insights just from listening very carefully into them that often provide a whole new, it's called paradigm shift, isn't it? And that paradigm shift moment can happen in other sessions sometimes when you just question something that they take for absolute granted.
I agree, it can happen in other sessions. It's pretty much guaranteed to happen in the first one.
Yeah.
And then I think we all want it to happen in all of the sessions forever, and it can't, because of the nature of life is those are the highlights, aren't they?
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the sessions afterwards are all about accountability and challenging limiting and negative beliefs where one can have the most impact. I know when I'm coached myself, the thing I love is when someone pulls me up on something that I've totally taken for granted and it shows me a different way of looking at it. You do it often to me when we do our coaching sessions online, our public coaching sessions.
Yeah, yes. Anyway, tell me, was that all that thing about Andy and Paul and Kim and Paris and Tramco about your week, or do you have something to say in this section as well?
No, I'm going to say the other bits in the other sections, really.
Okay, all right.
So we're on to Fueled Your Fire. What's Fueled Your Fire this week?
You tell me yours first, because mine is knicker-wettingly exciting.
Is it?
Yeah.
Can't wait. I'll clench in readiness.
Yes, good. You go first.
Pelvic floor at the ready. Hang on a second. Okay, so I had a conversation with Sarah and Phoebe. If we took on some clients to do what we do for me, how would it work and could it work? And Sarah and I had a really nice session in the sunshine outside the bridge on Monday lunchtime. And it was one of those things when you really appreciate working for yourself. Everybody else, it was not very busy because everyone was at work. The sun was shining, the river was high. We had a lovely lunch. We talked about everything. We had a notepad with us, so we wrote stuff down. And it was just great. And she said, well, if we're going to do this for other people, we really need to tighten up the procedures that we do with you, because you're still doing too much and you're still the bottleneck. And so we went through the whole thing from when I deliver my bits of video to Phoebe, in Drive, and we worked out which bits I'm still doing and which bits I shouldn't be doing and who could take them over. So all of the all of the little bits I was doing, things like turning the video into audio after Phoebe had finished with it. Phoebe's now got that job. Things like writing, copying the description over from last week's V-zine to next week's V-zine and then updating it in YouTube, things like that. I was doing the native uploading to Facebook, just stuff really I shouldn't have been doing. So either Sarah or Phoebe have taken all that on. So I'm feeling very freed, and I'm also realising that the Be Everywhere online in under 2 hours a week could now be Everywhere online in under 20 minutes a week. Because
yes, I saw that. I saw the 20 minutes offer on Facebook yesterday, and I thought, oh my God.
Well, it's true though. I mean, if I'm talking to camera, can take as little as 20 minutes. And the only other thing I do is edit this podcast. And obviously that could be outsourced. If I wasn't so precious about it,
yes,
it could be outsourced. And
well, similarly, the show notes, if I wasn't so precious about them, they could be outsourced as well.
We do it. It's a labour of love for us, really, isn't it? On these bits.
Well, I think it brings up an interesting point that I saw somebody make on Facebook yesterday, which is, when you have created the content yourself and you are, say, a wordsmith, or it appearing in your own written or verbal words and not being even slightly misrepresented is important to you, then it is quite difficult to outsource. Not all of it, but some of it. And I'm reminded as I'm talking to you of Penny, who was my assistant in the accounting business forever. And what was brilliant about her was she could run my life as if she was me. Yeah. We shared a house occasionally. She would do the grocery shopping as if she was me. She would hide the chocolate as if she was me. She could drive the car as if she were me. There was, apart from her own social behaviour, which I won't go into now, and this was 40 years ago, 30 years ago, I wouldn't, she could do everything as if she was me, and that is rare, I think. But can I just say, chutzpah of Sarah. I mean, Sarah, when you were listening to this, I hope you're listening to this, you marvellous thing calling your sister a bottleneck. What balls must that have taken to say, Nicola, you are the bottleneck? I love that.
Well, you know what? Everyone acts like I'm scary. I'm not at all. I knew I was the bottleneck, and I knew I was putting people up. But it was.
And do you know what I like about the meeting that the three of you had and the discussion that you had and the new plan that you've made, and I'm sure you'll refine it, is if the three of you can't get that right at head office level for you, then you can't replicate it well for your clients. And Sarah's spot on there.
Yeah, she is, and she is the woman for the job. So what we've done is we've worked out that if I can sell this, to existing clients and then future clients, then Sarah is not going to be a co-owner of the business, because we need someone to make the final decisions. And when Sarah and I are both very opinionated, so we end up
and quite volatile, the two of you, the working relationship over the decades.
Yeah, usually when we're 50-50 partners, but when it's my business and she's being paid to do a job, she does it above and beyond the call of duty, and I know it's that's true very well. So what we've arranged is that I own the business, I sell the business, I sell it, the front end, and then she's on a profit split, which we've yet to agree, but I'm sure it'll be somewhere in the region of 50-50.
Yeah.
And might be slightly less because I'm doing the selling, and without the selling you haven't got a business, so that's what I'm going to pitch for. But we'll come to something that we're both happy with, but it'll be me making the final decisions, and so I've got ownership of it and I drive it forward, and that's where I like to be. I like to be in the driving seat with making things happen. And
that does sound as though it might suit you both.
Yes, and it also, the thing is, it's part-time, so she can do her bits with very efficiently.
Yeah.
She wakes up really early so she can get most of it out of the way in the first hour. So, so now I'm just reaching out to clients. I'm starting to put out feelers just to see. And I feel very excited about it because it's building a separate business that is 100% not me delivering, although it's me selling and then doing the initial strategy session. And we're thinking that either people deliver 12 bits of content to us every 3 months, and then we just take it from there and make it happen. Or we have a day with a client virtually on Skype or Zoom where we extract 12 bits of content out of them by interviewing them or by then asking them questions which we come up with in advance with the client. Just because, that's the thing. The client's going to be the bottleneck. And if we're running a service where they have to deliver content, they don't deliver the content, we can't deliver the service. So that's
if the contract is that they pay you on a quarterly basis or something, then the only person that they're harming by not delivering the content is themselves.
Yes, but then the problem with that is, and I've come across this with the Facebook ads, is that if they don't deliver the content, they won't want to pay you the next quarter. Because
no, that's true, but that's okay, because the fact is then they're failing and they're self-selecting as a non-ideal client.
Also, I don't like the thought of clients out there having given me money and us not having delivered a service.
Yes, get over it, Nicola. It's only 13 weeks. Get over it. It's 13 weeks. How else are they going to learn? Stop bending over backwards. This is my new rule in my life at the moment. I've got 2 new rules, actually. And this one is SBOB. Stop bending over backwards.
Okay, I like this one.
Treat your clients as equals.
Yes, and it's interesting because it's all about boundaries, isn't it? And I've had a lot of conversations with Phoebes this week with her new client, her social media management client, where she's supposed to do 2 hours a day, and she does that first thing in the morning, and then they're popping up all day asking her, could you just do this?
No.
And I've said, we had to.
Yes, I can do that in my 2-hour window tomorrow morning.
Yes, exactly. So, but you have to be firm.
And also, I also think you do the client a favour by saying to them, do not sign up for this if you're not going to give us the 12 pieces of content.
Yeah. Yeah, but then we there is this extra service of spending a day to extract the bits of content, but they have to pay extra for that.
Yeah, but I even think that would be quite difficult. But, well, we'll see. Let's see in the first few clients. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah. So that's what's fueled my fire. What about you? I'm ready now.
Yeah, I'm just going to, well, you know it already before we get there, but I just want to ask one more question about this. Be Everywhere Online done for you. Does it have a name?
Yeah, it's called Be Everywhere Online done for you.
For you, yes. Let me just write this down. Be Everywhere Online. BFY.
It's a personal branding service, so I can't think that it needs a better name than Be Everywhere Online in under 20 minutes a week.
Beodify, it's called. Be Everywhere Online done for you. Something like that, anyway. Right, well, mine is, after 15 or 20 years, finally working out what I want to write my seminal work on.
Oh, I'm so excited about this.
So am I. It's going to be a book. And to that end, I am learning how to use Scrivener. And I want to talk about Scrivener in this section, actually. I've owned Scrivener for quite a long time.
Yeah, I've had several
and the inbuilt tutorials are just, pants. But it's not all Scrivener's fault, and I'll tell you why, because I've invested. This is what I was researching just now because I wanted to tell you more about it. Well, and actually, what I'm liking very much is that I've spent £10 on a course on Udemy called Scrivener for Windows, a quick and easy guide. And like Profit Accumulator, which is the only other thing I can remember in living memory where I was sufficiently motivated to learn it that I was prepared to watch videos, which, as you know, is quite painful for me. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's sort of 9.9 painful for me. And I'm looking at on Udemy now. I want to talk about Udemy as well. And I paid 10 quid for this course, which I think is an absolute stonking bargain, by the way, because it is, let me tell you, where does it say it? 109 videos, 5.5 hours of on-demand video. And I think it's they break those down into sort of 3-minute chunks. Thank God they do, because frankly, I can't even contain my interest from clicking away within the 3 minutes. I cannot. Video does not hold my attention at all. But let me talk about Udemy for a bit before I come back to talking about Scrivener. When I went to research this 2 or 3 days ago, and remember that I have clients who sell things on Udemy and sell things on Udemy rather well. And I've talked about Udemy and I'm aware of it, but I've never been a customer of it before. And it says on this course that I've bought and on all the other courses that it was 10 quid on the day I bought it. And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. The normal price is 70 quid, but I could get it for 10 quid until the 30th of June. Well, today I'm speaking to you on the 29th of June, and it's priced at 15 quid. So the pricing is a strange old thing where it looks like a bargain, but it moves, and it doesn't move the way they promised. It moves. Maybe they're showing it to me at 15 quid because I passed, they don't know, I'm not logged in and they don't know I bought it at 10. I don't know. Anyway, interesting thing. Very, very professional platform. The quality of the video is excellent. He's had, his ratings are 4.6 out of 5. He's had 1,298 students go through this. I mean, I think Udemy is fantastic. Anybody that wants to create video content to sell it, I mean, it's on the user end, it's fantastic. Now, back to Scrivener. This is really painful, but I am going to put myself through it because I really, really, really know that this is the tool I want to use.
Yeah. So, I mean, what does it give you? Because I've looked at it several times and even downloaded it once. What does it give you that using just a document in Google Drive?
Well, first of all, I don't use Google Drive. And secondly, I don't really know how to use Word all that well either. Now, all my ebooks that I've made before, I've made on Word. And they were absolutely fine for ebooks, but I don't think this is going to be an ebook. And the best thing about Scrivener, and it must be borne in mind that I am only 5% into this training course as yet, so I don't really know the full value of it. But absolutely the best thing about it from my perspective is when it's all finished and tidied at the end, you press a button and it comes out in all the different formats for all the different places. And I already know I'm going to want it in all the different places, including the digital and the print-on-demand ones. So it comes out in all the different formats you need to sell it in all the different places. And you can do things like at one click, you could change the same word all the way through.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, lots of things like that. Yeah. I mean, and too many. The problem is that the Scrivener's got too much functionality.
Yeah, it's a sledgehammer to crack a nut.
Yeah, but no, I don't think it is. I think if I don't panic and I just learn it to the extent that I need to for this first one, and then each time I wish it did more, I'll find out how to do that and realise it does that too. I think it's got all the functionality you'll ever need and possibly a bit more. I think that the real boon will come at the end when I finish and I press the button, and I won't have to bring in another person to make it formatted right for Nook or Create Space or all these other places. I think it will be great for that. And I think once I've mastered it, which I expect to in this first book, it will make me want to write more books. Yeah. For instance, there isn't much research in this book. And I've got a yellow notebook where I'm writing it all down, but actually people are already sending it to me in private messages on Facebook, in emails, and I'm writing it down in my notebook. All of that can go in a special place in here, in the same folder, as opposed to another document that you keep. It basically corrals all of the stuff in one place instead of having lots of different documents.
Yeah. I think the other benefit for you is that when you're using Scrivener, it blocks out everything else, doesn't it? So you can't get distracted.
But that doesn't bother me particularly. The distractions are when I'm learning how to use Scrivener. That I'm never distracted by anything I want to do in my real life. I don't have distraction issues, but that is one of the things it does for the benefit of everybody else, yes.
Yeah, okay. See,
I mean, I'm talking to you now. I've got absolutely nothing else open on my computer because the way my brain works is I have to focus on the task in hand. So that does come with Scrivener. I don't need that.
Yeah. Okay, well, I can hear that you're determined to learn it for all those reasons. And
yeah, I am.
If it's not just for one book, that's brilliant. So awesome. I love the sound of this book, and I'm looking forward to reading it.
I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited that when I left my old business and then eventually discovered coaching, and then everybody said to me at the beginning, you need to go and coach those people that you've always known, the small businesses and the solopreneurs. I went, oh no, I took years of that to be able to do that. And then eventually I realised they were right, and I came round to it. But with the book, I never wanted to create a book that was all about me, in which I wrote down everything I've learned about business in the last 40 years. It's like, oh, God, really? I've forgotten most of it. What a moan, what a yawn. I couldn't get that. And then suddenly, last Friday, I'm driving in the car and I think, oh, I'll just write it about all of the questions they ask me all of the time. And yeah. I would love that. And my opinions modify all of the time as well. They're not set in stone. And I would love that. I've just got to write up the work I do all of the time. And it would be quite a psychological book, because my work is these days and my interest is in that. It would be quite a feminine book because the majority of my clients are, and I think my loving, forgiving advice is quite feminine. In the old sort of money gym 80-20 space, so 20% of the readers might be men and not notice that the advice is feminine, if you know what I mean. I'm very excited. It's Thursday today. I had this idea last Friday and I haven't lost interest yet.
Well, that's always a good test.
Well, it's not as much as a test as actually writing it, because I think this will be different this time. I may even either manifest or search out a proper publisher.
Oh, I think you should.
It's a proper book. This is a proper book. I've written 5 books before, but this is a proper book.
Yeah. Well, that's marvellous. I can't wait.
Well, you're going to wait a bit because it's not going to be fast.
How long do you reckon?
Well, I've got to learn Scrivener first. That's going to probably take me. Learning Scrivener is going to take me longer than writing the book, I think.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because once it's all in your head. Once you've got the right tools, it will.
Yeah, I think July and August. I'm off from the podcast. I'm off from my one-to-ones in August. I think I'll probably break the back of a lot of the content in August.
Yeah. And then we come down to the thorny issue of how long should a book be nowadays, because I think all the publishers say 45,000 words, and I think that's too little. I prefer around 75,000 myself, but as a reader, I like a thicker book. But as apparently people only want to read 45,000 words max nowadays.
Well, funnily enough, I'm not sure that you'll read this book in one sitting, because I think it might be one of those one a day, one a week, one a month things. I'm not sure yet. I think it might be 365 days of running your own business or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be great. You know what it's starting to sound like? It's starting to sound like the seminal coaching book that Thomas Leonard wrote. You know, that really had all the amazing things that you need to think about if you're going to become a more effective person.
That's interesting. And when I said that just now, 365 days, I thought of that lovely book that I adore called Simple Abundance by Sarah Brannock, a woman's day book of comfort and joy. But it's going to be, what I want the reader to realise is that there's no rocket science to running a business. Anybody can do it. It's actually easy. And when you read the questions from people and you realise you suffer from the same bonkersness yourself, if you can just let that bonkersness go, you can have a go at making money doing something that you love. And I honestly think business is easy. I think it's the bonkers barriers we put in our own way that make it difficult for the client and interesting for me.
Yes, because this is it. I constantly come up against this because obviously everyone's always buying tactics on internet marketing. Which, instead of just getting on with it.
Well, I mean, you and me, our combined mantras, let's crack on. Shall we just have a go and see what happens? And I think people are frightened of that. And you always used to say the thing about, you don't need to see all the traffic lights green before you start the engine and leave the house. Let's just go to the first green light and see what happens. Or even the red one, even if you've got to sit there for a bit, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. Would you like to showcase your business, product or service to between 400 to 600 highly engaged solopreneurs and business owners every week? We can offer a 30-second mid-roll slot and sponsorship branding on our website and in our private Facebook group. Just contact Nicola at nicolacairncross.com for more details. Which leads very nicely into Client Challenge of the Week.
Oh, groovy. Bring it on.
Yeah. Well, I think we could talk for England on this topic because we already have been starting there. I've got a client I've been working with for a couple of years now, and he is coming to the point where he's thinking, I don't know, I gave him notice actually last week. I said, look, you've got to give me notice because we're not getting anywhere. We have these amazing chats. We come up with great plans and you go away and for whatever reason, and it's, he's got a complicated life and he's got a couple of other businesses on the go, one of which is a property empire, which he doesn't seem to have to do too much in, to be fair. But I've said, you just don't take any action. And neither of us can get to the bottom of why. And then I say, well, why do you need to have something else on the go? Because he's very keen to get something going online. And he says, because it's basically for the intellectual stimulation, the stuff that he's got going at the moment. One is 2 or 3 things do not require his input at all. And he's a highly, highly intelligent man. And I think he likes to have something to think about, to drive forwards. So then I've had another experience with another client who's brand new. And she is just cracking on with it. I told her what to do. She's starting to do it. She's starting to send me stuff already. And then I've got other clients where I've been for a day with them. We've sketched out a plan. We've worked out what they need to do in the next 90 days, 30 days, next week. And I've come away and nothing's happened. So it's really fascinating, this whole thing about some clients need certainty. Some clients want to know what it all looks like before they can get started on the first step, what the whole plan looks like. Other clients need, they're seeking maximum win, minimum effort, I've put down here, which is where they want you to tell them the thing that's going to give them the biggest bang for their buck. And actually, nobody can tell them that because it's different for everybody. But they don't want to take action in case it's the right thing. They want to know what the right thing is. So they're seeking entrepreneurial certainty, as Rich Sheffrin called it. And then there's another set of clients who are seeking perfection. They don't want to do anything unless it's absolutely perfect. So holding an iPhone up with a half-decent background and half-decent light and talking to camera terrifies the living daylights out of them, because they feel that they should have, a studio with a professional setup and a professional camera person. So there's so many obstacles to people just getting started, and that's sort of what we were just saying, wasn't it? Which was, let's just try it and see what happens.
Can we go back to maximum win, minimum? What was the word that came after that?
Maximum win, minimum effort.
Yes.
People are constantly looking for you to tell them which way will work and which way will get, they call it the biggest bang for the buck, which social media platform should I go on? Because they feel that if you tell them which social media platform is working right now, they'll go on and have a massive success. And actually, each business is different, and it's where your customers are. And you've got to try different things. But people seem to want this element of certainty, perfection. They go away after making plans and don't take the first steps. And it's, I did the Colby A. It's a good thing to do, this Colby A, because it's not telling you about your personality. It tells you about your preferred method of taking action. And sometimes you're perhaps a quick start, like a 7 on a quick start, and you're also a 7 on the research. So you have to do a lot of research before you can take action, whereas I'm a 7 on the quick start and a 2 on the research. So I'm blessed with the ability to take action quickly without deliberating on all these different things. And I'm very much have a go and see what happens kind of person. So I just thought we could talk around that, how to get clients off the block, because a lot of clients are stuck on the block. Okay,
how to get clients off the block. Right. Lots of things have occurred to me. How to get clients off the block. Perfectionism is something that I will address in my book, because the only person who benefits from perfectionism is the person themselves. Nobody else wants it. Good enough is fine. And nobody else will pay for it. There is an exception to that, which is when you're in the extreme end of the luxury market. So Bond Street and above, people will pay for perfection. But in our lives, pretty much everybody we know, when you take the car to the garage, you want it good enough. You don't want it perfect. And if you want it perfect, you're going to take it to, some Formula One type of arrangement. Do you know what I mean? So perfectionism, the only winner in perfectionism is the good, squeaky clean feeling that client gets. It's a weirdness, actually, and I will talk all clients out of perfectionism.
It's subjective, it's subjective, isn't it, Will? A perfection is subjective. Who gets to decide when something is perfect and when it's good enough?
Well, I don't think it can ever be perfect, but I think good enough is something that all of us can assess. Mm. Is this good enough? Have I done enough? Am I enough? Is it enough? Yes, it is. No, it's not. Right, do a bit more. Now, I think there is what you've thrown up in the conversation about sacking the client, and what you've reminded me of is that you and I are different in one vital respect here, which is you really need your clients to take action and get value and give you the 12 pieces of content and all of that. And I don't. And the one thing I've learned, which has been really helpful to me, and I've probably learned it in the last 5 years, I think, in terms of sort of loving and accepting people exactly as they are, they will keep turning up and talking to me as long as that's valuable to them. And if I were to stream my clients into action takers, thinkers and talkers and some other kind of category, I can't compare their results or the speed, and neither it doesn't matter to me. So it's a bit like, wealth dynamics, where there are 8 different types, or any kind of profiling system where we recognize we're all different. It's better for you if your clients are closer to being like you, and if they don't take action, you find that frustrating. I don't think I do, really. When I turn up to a call, I sometimes think it's such a shame this woman isn't getting better results. In the call, she gets fired up, and then somehow it doesn't seem to translate. She doesn't work particularly well on her own. That's one kind of client. And of course, I can't be with them, 9 to 5, 5 days a week. So I don't know, some people it doesn't translate. Slowly, if you look back over, say, 3 to 5 years, you can see improvements, but that would be too slow for you. And then other clients who have something serious going on in their lives, like, well, this bereavement, you lost a lot of time to bereavement, and who cares? And illness, I've got a client at the moment who hasn't achieved anything on the thing we're working together on because she's had a very serious illness and operation and recuperation and blah, blah, blah. And yet she still values the time that we spend together. Ostensibly, I'm her business coach, but we haven't done any business together for ages. But there's a safe space that's confidential, that is still valuable to her, even though she's not taking action. Now, I think what I've learned to do is to be with the client where they are, not oblige them. And I'm not saying you're wrong in this regard, and our coaching is deeply different, but not oblige them to have to meet my standards of expectation. I have none. It's like, how can I help them today if it's raising their vibration, or just getting them to do the one thing, or see something differently, or stop that endless perfectionism around why hasn't that happened yet.
I mean, I have sat with this client. Obviously we have a great time. I thought he's using me to be a sounding board. We know entrepreneurs talk with their mouths open, and he's using me as someone who challenges his thought processes. He loves that, and so I have sat with him especially the last year.
And are you saying you're not prepared to do that any longer?
No, I totally would be prepared to carry on, but I feel that he's starting to question whether there's any value in it.
Has he said that? Or are you hallucinating?
No, we did have a conversation where he was saying, I don't know if I'm getting value out of this anymore because I'm not taking action on what we discussed. I said, I feel too that, although I'm very happy to sit and be here for you to talk to every, fortnight or whatever, it does seem to feel like there's something blocking you from moving forward. So perhaps we ought to take a break. And I must be picking up on the vibes from him because I haven't felt that up till now. Yeah. And I would love to carry on talking to him every couple of weeks and even just being whatever. But
I think in that example, a break is a good idea. And if somebody said that to me, I would say, let's go into the break and see what happens. And if you can manage without, great. And if you want to come back at any time, great.
Yeah, the only challenge is because he's such a long-standing client, he's on a very, very old rate. So
they always come back in at the new rate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's not just him aside. There have been other clients recently who've had sessions, and then even VIP sessions followed up by phone sessions, and then they've gone off and they just simply haven't done the things we agreed. So for one of those reasons that I stated, there's always a reason, and it's like you say, it can be illness and stuff, and that's different entirely. But I think clients hire coaches to help them get over themselves sometimes.
Yes, I don't know that it would worry me as much as it worries you, and I know it worries you because we've talked about it on the podcast a lot. It's not worries, really. I mean, you said it with if they don't give me the 12 pieces of content, and I went, well, it doesn't matter to me, they paid for it, they're letting themselves down. I think we've got to encourage clients to accept their part of the responsibility in the relationship, and for us to accept ours, which is to turn up and be available. We can't do anything for you under your done for you unless you do this. Don't sign up for done for you unless you're prepared to do this.
Yeah. But then, that's the done for you is a completely different case, really.
It is, but it's the same principle, which is if a client's prepared to pay, the only way, once it starts to become increasingly painful, paying for something where they're not getting results because they're not doing their bit, that's a kind of squeezing mechanism that might work for some, doesn't work for all because it's quite disabling for some, but might work for some.
Sorry, can you say some more about that?
Yeah, the pain of paying for something when you're not actually taking any action on what you agree in the sessions, the pain of paying for it could be the squeezing mechanism, the lever to get some clients, not all, just some clients will recognise that pain and think, oh, bloody hell, I better pull my finger out because I've been turning up here and paying lip services and I'm paying this on. A bit like how a personal trainer works.
Yeah. I did think that might be, that's why I've let it go on perhaps a little longer than I would normally, because I thought, you know, at some point he's going to think, you know, bloody hell, I better make some decisions here, because I am paying this person to listen to all
Yes. I tell you what's occurring to me as well. The coach in me doesn't have any issue with this at all. The slightly impatient Judith person might think out of office hours, oh, I don't know if I'm doing any good for that person, or isn't it amazing that we're coming towards the end of the second year, there's been no serious progress yet, how long are we going to keep fannying on with X? You know, the human being in me might think those thoughts. The businesswoman coach in me doesn't think those thoughts. I'm available to them in any capacity they want, and sometimes my own frustration comes out in a session, and I'm not always sure it's appropriate. And I might say to them, I'm not sure this is appropriate, but the Judith in me wants you to pull your bloody finger out and get on with it. And we might laugh about it, but I would never want a client, and I know they do this, I would never want a client to leave. I know they do this. I would never want a client to leave because they thought they were letting me down or disappointing me because they kept turning up without doing anything.
Well, clients do.
They embarrass themselves into leaving in the end.
Yes.
They do.
Yeah. Which is a real shame, because
terrible shame. Yeah.
Because it's only by coming along that anything's going to change.
Well, I mean, if we go back to how to get clients off the block, I'm not sure we can. In that first session, you know, the inspiration, that's what I was saying at the beginning, the inspiration is such that the right client will definitely get off the block. We can't get them off the block. I'm not in the motivation business. I'm in the inspiration business. I will pull you from the front, but I'm not going to push you from behind.
Yeah, absolutely. Lead from the front, not push from behind.
Yeah.
So if there is someone listening who fits this description, who's finding it hard to get off the block for whatever reason, perfectionism, wanting certainty about what to do and what will work, definitely, and stuff like that, what would we say to them?
Yeah, well, two things come to mind immediately. There is no entrepreneurial certainty. There's no certainty in life. Get over it, you know.
Yeah.
There's nothing is certain. The only certainty is change.
Death and taxes.
Yes, there's no certainties. That's it. End of. Less perhaps in entrepreneurial life, but actually any certainty you think you've got in a job is an illusion, because that could change today. So there's no certainty in life. Get over that one. Forget it. Drop it. And actually, the fun of being out here is the uncertainty, and that thing where you described being in the pub on Monday with the sunshine and the river and that's the upside of uncertainty.
Yeah, very much so. And there's no certainty in relationships either.
There's no certainty in anything.
I keep, because I'm surrounded in stupor by older people, I keep hearing stories about people who've just decided to change their life or relationship. You know, even you think once you get to 50, you're going to stick with the same person for the rest of your life. Not according to the stories I hear. No,
because 50 isn't very old, Nicola, as you know. Now you're 50.
Now
there was the other half of the question I wanted to answer, and I've forgotten what it is now. One was about certainty, and one was about if anybody's listening to this. Yeah, they've got to want it for themselves. They can't pay lip service to it, I think, is the thing.
Yeah.
There is no certainty, but after a while, that'll be the bit you love about it. Yeah,
absolutely. And the thing is, if you don't turn up, nobody can help you. You have to show up, don't you? And we've talked about that, not for a while, but you have to show up.
All of these people you're describing are showing up, but not in the sense you mean. They're showing up, but they're not following through.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I would probably, if I was them, if after the session I thought to myself, I can't possibly hope to achieve as much as Nicola has set me or Judith expects of me, but I could do this. In my Club 100, we've just tried to do 1 or 2 things a week that will make a difference. It doesn't matter to me how big or small they are, because if you do a couple a week, it's 100 in the year, and you're 100 steps further away from where you started.
Yeah, and I always ask at the end of a session, once we've agreed action steps, I always ask people, how do you feel about that? What's going to stop you? And so, always leave time for that thing of just reviewing it and give them the opportunity to scale it back a bit if they've been over ambitious.
Oh, that's the other point I wanted to make. You mentioned that some of these people have more than one business on the go and busy lives.
Yes.
I certainly never have a conversation about what would stop you, because it's too neg for me. I don't expect anything to stop somebody that I've inspired in that first session. But I think that I would, if progress was limited, they've got to make some space for this.
Yeah.
By stripping something else away.
Yeah.
Or if they've got another business where they don't have to do very much because they've done the right thing there and it's mostly managed by somebody else and they're just directing it, like you're going to be in Theodify, as I'm calling it now, then you have to leave your team alone to get on with it and empower them to solve more and more so that you're needed less and less. You're available to them whenever necessary, but you don't nanny them. And as that happens in your other things, you've got more time to give to this thing you want to build up on the side.
Yeah. It's really the difference. It's evolving from being an entrepreneur stroke freelancer into being a business owner, isn't it? And then you know, with a new business, you sort of go through this period where you're starting again as an entrepreneur freelancer, and then you have to work up to being a business owner again.
The funny thing is, in my book, I'm not going to address it as business ownership at all, because all my clients say to me, I don't want a business. I just want to make money doing something I love. But the principles still apply. You do grow up you grow up as a parent. When you have a baby, you have no idea how to be a parent. You learn how to be a parent. You know, when you get married, the girl that bought my travel agency at the end of and she was a born again Christian, she said to me at the end of her first year of married life, Judith, it's been the hardest thing I've ever done. And now she's celebrating her 20th wedding anniversary on Facebook. I bet she knows better how to be a wife now than she did 20 years ago. She's got 2 teenage daughters now. I bet she knows better now how to be a mum. It's the same whether you're running your own business or doing something that you love for money or working with you or me to learn something that makes that easier. You get better at it if you just keep in the game. And it doesn't even need to be about performance that's measurable. It just is. Over a period of time, everything just gets easier, and the easier it feels, the more readily you can do it. So there might be an escalation for these people after a period of time, once they put the foundation work in.
Mm. Yes, because I was reminded of my first ever car, a gold Nissan Cherry, and how I used to be able to park it in the smaller spaces, but only if there was a tiny bit of room to get some momentum, get some movement.
Yeah.
Power steering.
Yeah.
And you had to get a bit of movement going on the car before you could turn the wheels.
Yes. We had an expression in one of our recent podcasts about an ounce of courage every day. It really is just, what's the one thing I can do today?
Yeah.
And if you're going to say the filing, then another one. Give us one that might take the business, your thing forward an inch, not tidy up behind you, not the busy jobs.
Yeah, and I use that myself. I always think, what's the one thing I can do today, even if I'm not feeling well or if I'm jet-lagged or whatever, what's the one thing I can do today to move my business forward? That's what.
And you know what Michael Neal would say, if you don't feel like doing that one, it's too big a step. Break it down a bit.
Yeah, chunk it down a section.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay. Word of the week, madam.
Mine is exposure, actually, which came out of the mouth of a client on Monday evening. What she meant was visibility. She's a star and she's being called to step up. And, this is one of these people with a big mission who was going to be visible all over the world. The word she used, the Freudian slip that came out of her mouth was exposure. She was going to feel, she thought, which denoted to me that she thought she was going to feel exposed. So we then had a conversation about celebrities, and she mingles with a lot of musical celebrities, actually. And we had a conversation about celebrities, many of whom managed to protect their privacy.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot spring to mind that manage it quite well.
Very well, absolutely. So, just because you're going to be more visible doesn't mean you'll be exposed.
Yeah, very good. Mine is adaptable, because obviously moving around as much as I am, I'm having to be rather adaptable.
You've had a very serious accelerated lesson in adaptability over the last 6 weeks or so, haven't you?
I have. And you know what, Judith? I feel so much the better for it.
Why? Because it's sort of exercising those muscles, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I feel so much less anxious. I mean, when I started this whole year of becoming a digital nomad, I was so anxious about so many things, sleeping in different bedrooms, just knowing, where I was going to sleep. So, now I'm getting really quite adaptable.
Look what you've just done. You've just proved what we said in Client Challenge of the Week. A year on doing it, everything's easier.
Yeah. So, for example, I'm facing a little adaptability challenge this morning in that I went into Kim's bathroom and turned on the shower and no water came out. And I thought, now, see, I am quite known for not being able to work gadgets. So I thought, I'll just wait till she's finished this client and ask her. And she said, oh, no, we never have showers here. It's a bath all the way. So now I'm thinking, I don't have a bath. I'm going to have to be adaptable. So I don't know quite what I'm going to do, but I will figure it out.
Well, they're living in another century, aren't they?
Well, I know, you know, because she's a hairdresser. I think it's because she doesn't wash her hair in the morning. She does her hair over, you know, with a hairdressing thing, and she has her hair done sort of twice a week by a hairdresser. So it's a different world, really.
It is a completely different world. It sounds like my mother's world or my grandmother's world. Yeah, I have to speak to Kim about that. Yeah.
So so I'm just trying to work out how I'm going to do that. She has, I might have to nip into her salon in between customers and wash my hair there.
Yes, you might have to bathe your body and let her take care of your hair.
That's what I'm thinking. But she's very reluctant to do my hair, I must say. I think giving me a bed for 2 nights is at the limits of her.
Yes, and maybe she's not impressed by what you've let that Greek lady do to your hair.
Well, she has mentioned that on several occasions.
Yes, she has. I knew that.
Oh my God. Project updates, no change in the iTunes thing. We're all still waiting for the iTunes, what's it called? The iTunes algorithm update. And I know...
Nicola, I don't think this matters because we went into Libsyn last week and we didn't say anything that cheered us up at all. In fact, it depressed us. So I'm not sure we want to go into Libsyn.
Yeah. Well, I can't get in.
No, that's good. Well, there you go. That's the universe saying, don't go in there. There's nothing in there you want to see.
No, nothing in there, right. Okay, we're on to who or what's impressed then.
Okay. Do you want to go first or shall I go first?
You go first because I haven't really got anything.
All right. So I'm going to tell you about Monday afternoon's client anonymously. She was in for one of the Entrepreneur of the Day sessions, one of those wham bam, thank you ma'am, inspiration, holy shit, Judith ones. And she's apparently reported to somebody else. Judith doesn't mince her words, which is a bit of a understatement, really, isn't it? She was in crisis in work and in her private life. She was in extremis, and I got a handle on it. That wasn't necessarily. I mean, I never know what to expect when these people turn up, so I don't know what they're going to throw at me. And her extremis was such that I told her what to do. I didn't coach her what to do. I told her what to do. And I helped her to clear away what you and I have recently called, and I'm really loving this expression, and perhaps it was part of what helped me work out what I wanted to make the book about, the swirling emotions.
Yeah.
And I actually left her with instructions on how to be assertive with her personal problem and what to do with the business problem. And she got both, because she was a very bright woman. She's age 66. And she took it well. The person who introduced me has already told me that she started to take action. And, you know, she went off to get it sorted and she was empowered by the session and she sucked up the tough love. And given that I'm a complete stranger to her, albeit I come as a word of mouth referral, she adapted, and that certainly wasn't how she was expecting the session to go. She adapted to it very bravely and well. And that has impressed me this week.
It is good, isn't it? When and it's wonderful to feel that you can actually say, you know, that's what I pay. If I was paying for coaching, I would want someone to be really honest with me. You're not paying for someone to pussyfoot around and say what everyone else says.
But she helped me come to an expression that I've been able to use 2 or 3 times this week as well, which is she was struggling in the business area. She'd lost a big client that had suddenly that was the bulk of her income. And we talked about how to replace it. But it was having a knock-on effect on her private life where she had to move house and didn't have the money for it.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing was she was allowing, this is where the swirling emotion, she was allowing the scary domestic situation to disempower her about sorting out the business problem. And I said, look, that scary move house situation isn't actually all that scary. It's a problem for your agent and your landlord, not for you. And I explained to her legally why that was. But I got her to see that you've got to put it in a box, a little cardboard box called, this is a 9 to 5 problem. You cannot let it be your obsession for every waking moment, because what happens is that just makes you poorly mentally in every way. And she has to turn up to work and sort out the business problem as well. So we've got to learn to compartmentalize problems, not let them, and I think maybe this is a women thing, let them dominate our every waking moment, where we're picking at the scab, going over how unfair it is and unreasonable and what am I going to do, and fear and all of that. Let's stick it in a box, mark 9 to 5. Do what you can during business hours and come back to it again tomorrow morning. And I'm really pleased. I've thought of this 9 to 5 box.
That's wonderful. And, you know, it's interesting because when I look back over my life, it's taken me absolutely years to be able to get control of my emotions to the point where I can function in other areas. And it's a skill that men seem to be naturally very good at compartmentalizing to the detriment sometimes of
I agree
psyche.
Yes,
but women seem to be right down the other end. You know, that if they're upset, they can't function at all in any.
I know. Yeah.
So that's very good. Well, I'm impressed with you, Judith. All your actions towards a new book.
Oh, is it me? Am I your who's impressed you?
No, well, to be honest, I didn't really have anyone this week, so I'm just knocking that out of thin air. Because having lived with you, I'm deeply excited for you. I think you've got so much to share, and it'll be a wonderful legacy thing as well.
Interesting that the new I don't have that thing about legacy, as you know, and I think it'll age quite quickly, because the advice I give clients now is not the same as I gave a decade ago, not what I expect to be giving in a decade either. But I think it'll be. I'm very inspired by Daphne in this, because the way she creates books and loves to market her books and uses Facebook very well to market her books and engage with her readers. I know I can do that for this book, and that I will love doing it for this book. And that's, you know, the book's the easy bit. You'll see in my newsletter tomorrow, I always say the book's the easy bit. It's the marketing of it. And typically, historically, you and I have marketed it for about 5 minutes once it launched, and then we don't think about it ever again. I'm going to market this one solidly for 3 years.
Well, also, if you went down I know you say about getting a traditional publisher, but if you should decide to initially go down the self-published route, and this is quite a good model, is you've self-published for a little while, build up I can't remember which book it was that did that, and it might be Traction, actually. He self-published first, and then it was only when it was really getting some traction that he negotiated a deal with a traditional publisher, and he got a much better deal because of it, because he proved the concept, you know. But you can, as a self-publisher, upload any number of updates to your manuscript. Yes. So, you know,
I knew that. That's good, but I'm not sure that I would do that. I might. If it turns out to be a sort of, what's that book called about parachutes, the career book? Then you would want to keep it updated.
What colour is your parachute?
Yeah. You
okay,
would want to keep that updated, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, brilliant. Well, where am I next week? I'm in.
You should be back in Stupor. Oh no, are you travelling on Thursday? No, you'll be still in England next Thursday. Yeah. So where will you be next Thursday?
I'll be in my little house with my super fast broadband.
No, you won't. Oh, you're travelling this Saturday?
Yes, I'm travelling this Saturday.
Oh, you'll be in your new house next week.
I will.
Oh, how exciting!
My new, not forever home, but my new
Your new semi-permanent home.
Yeah, and I'll have to do a video so you can have a look round.
Yes, that's very good. Yeah.
Lovely. All right.
Speak to you soon, then. All right. See you then. Travel safely. Yeah. Bye.
You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. The podcast is called Own It, Your Business and Your Life. Do come and visit us at ownitthepodcast.com. We love to hear your feedback. You can find out more about Judith and visit her on her website at judithmorgan.com, and you can find Nicola at nicolacairncross.com.